everyone. Welcome to another live English show, which is about learn English with football. I forgot for a second what it was called. Learn English with football. And this is the final. We're going to be talking about the final game week of the Premier League. I say final, before the World Cup break. It's not really the final one, but the final one before the World Cup break. And as you can see, I've got a guest as always, but this time it's someone we haven't had here before. Matt. Hi, Matt.
Hello. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. Nice to have you here. Matt, would you like to introduce yourself?
Yeah, sure. So my name's Matt, as you know. I think you can read that, guys. I'm an English teacher. Very similar to you. I focus on the area of football. I work mostly with coaches and help them with their English related to the game. That's what I do.
Football coaches, football managers.
Football coaches, specifically football coaches, yeah. Not rugby or anything like that.
Fantastic. Is one of your clients one of the famous coaches or someone we people might know?
I can't say I've got anyone like right up top. Like Klopp hasn't given me a call yet.
Well, he does. To be honest, his English is pretty good already. But
well, that's it. I think by the time if you're going to work in like Premier League, by the time you're like being considered for work there, your English is probably good enough. You know. But I worked with a couple of coaches from fairly high up, but no superstars. No.
For example, someone like Marcelo Bielsa might need your help, if you ask me. So if you are watching Marcelo,
he doesn't speak much English, does he? He speaks like purely Spanish with his players, doesn't he?
Exactly. I think he refused to give interviews in English. So if you are, I think something like that. I think he had an interpreter during his press conferences and stuff. So if you are watching Marcelo, Matt might be one of the people that could help you with your English.
Yeah, if anyone knows his email, send it to me. I'll get onto him.
Exactly. Well, actually, you could send it to me too, guys. Okay.
Yeah.
Send it to both of us.
If anyone has contact details for Marcelo Bielsa, we are interested.
Exactly. Okay, Matt. So this is your Instagram, and you also have a YouTube channel which you have started recently.
Yes.
Fluent
both of those are pretty new, actually. Both of them started recently. Yeah, absolutely.
So if you guys watch this channel because you like the football stuff, this channel is not only about that. But if you like the football stuff, you might as well subscribe to Fluent Football so that Matt has more subscribers.
Yeah.
Also, what kind of videos can we find there?
I mean, a lot of things, like I'll go through vocabulary for attacking, vocabulary for defending, common phrases and expressions that you might hear. I'm sort of experimenting with a few things. Sometimes I'll look at like an article and go through some of the words and phrases. Something else I'm thinking about doing is playing back a press conference and then looking at some of the words and phrases again. But it's all very football focused, very football heavy, which I imagine anyone watching your channel is interested in. But
hopefully, because the thing is, my channel is not only about football. Yeah, so it's kind of, I do several different things, but football is definitely one of them. And Fluent Football has a good ring to it. I like the name.
Cheers, thank you.
Alliteration.
Hit that FF.
In my opinion, it makes it very obvious that you are speaking to English learners as well. So
I wanted something that sort of did that, but also had a nice sound to it, and just sort of like football English or English football was not quite.
Yeah, it's confusing because does it mean that this is a channel about football in England, or you know what I mean?
Yeah. But it could just be about the Premier League. Yeah, exactly.
Exactly. All right, fantastic. So we should have one more guest at least here today, but I think he's a little bit late, which is fine. We'll deal with that. We will deal with that later. Okay, Max says hello. One of the people watching us live. Good to have you here, Max. Max, a Liverpool fan. His team won, beat Southampton 3-1, I believe.
Okay, yeah, they need they had a good weekend, and I think they need some more good weekends.
It's not enough.
The new year.
but Max did all right in the FPL, which is one of the things I talk about later. I don't know if you play the Fantasy Premier League.
I certainly do.
Fantastic. So this is something we talk about later on. It's like a
Oh,
5-minute
great.
segment. This was the introductory one. I just want to remind everybody that I will be making notes during the show about Matt's and possibly Joel's English and mine occasionally. And then at the end, there will be one segment called the Language Corner. That's where it's like a little lesson where I explain this language to the viewers. Yeah, I clarify some of the language. If there are some idioms you throw in during the show or anything interesting, I will speak about it later when everybody is gone. Okay, so that's that. I'll just keep it there for now, and you guys can see what's happening. So let's get cracking. Let's talk about the matches we have seen. All right, Matt. I saw 4 matches myself. I'll tell you soon. Yeah, I saw 4.
Great weekend. That's an amazing weekend. I only managed to get one match in, but I saw the United and Fulham match, which was pretty interesting match. Good match to watch. I don't know. Did you watch that one?
I did. One of the reasons was that it was the last match of.
Oh yeah, of course. Yeah.
It was the last match. It was the only match. Like there were 2 matches on Sunday, but the more interesting one for me at least. And we also have to give a special mention to Cristiano Ronaldo, because if you haven't heard, viewers, there's some pretty interesting stuff that came out today regarding Cristiano Ronaldo and his interview.
Yeah, well, you mentioned this to me, and I don't know it, so I'm actually really curious to know what was said.
I've made notes in a Google document, so we're gonna talk about that later.
Amazing.
And so matches we have seen. So you only saw that one. Have you seen any highlights from any other matches?
I saw the highlights for the City match and the Arsenal match as well.
Excellent.
So they were the City one looked like an interesting game. It looked like a lot of chaos, to be honest.
Yeah, I don't know what to think about that match. I mean, I do know what to think. I think Brentford did an amazing job. We can talk about it a little bit soon, because I saw that match as well. I saw that match, then I saw the West Ham match, because as my viewers know, one of the teams I like is West Ham, but I don't like them at the moment.
You're not a big fan of the Hammers at the moment?
No, not because of what they are showing on the pitch. So they lost to Leicester 2-0 at home. So, and their fans want their manager out. So it's tough times.
It's rough road at the moment for the fellas.
Exactly. Yeah, so those were the matches I saw on Saturday. Then hang on, there must be one more. The Arsenal match, in the evening, because it was happening in the evening. Arsenal,
Wolves.
I can't remember who it was. Wolves, Arsenal, right?
Yeah.
Wolves, Arsenal, yeah. And then on Sunday, I saw the Manchester United game as well.
Yeah.
So that's something we can talk about. All right.
Which match stands out as like the best one that you watched? Like if someone said, watch this match from the weekend, which one would you pick?
You know what? It would be none of these.
Oh, really? You would watch a different match?
Because Leeds, like they are incredible these days. There are so many goals in their matches. Every single time they're like 7-6 or something like that. So I think it would have to be with the benefit of the hindsight, it would have to be Tottenham Leeds.
Okay, yeah. Which came out 4-3, I think, was it? Yeah. Crazy.
Exactly. There were a lot of turnarounds in that game. So unfortunately, I haven't seen the highlights, but I wish I had. Okay, so let's have a look at this one now. So the biggest surprise. So would you like me to go first, or do you want to do it yourself?
Well, I mean, I can say what surprised me were just like talking strictly about the match that I watched, because I didn't see the other matches too much, and I know I've seen highlights. But
Yeah.
probably the biggest surprise for just that one was if anyone who watched it, they know when it was 1-1, they, United looking to get ahead there. And manager, buddy, forgot his name. What's his name, manager?
Not Ralf Ragnick, the other
No.
one.
Yeah,
Ten Hag,
Ten
Erik
Hag, that's it. What am I
Ten
doing?
Hag.
Yeah.
You have to say Ten
Ten
Hag because one
Hag.
of our regulars, Leontes, is Dutch and he always corrects me. He's a
Oh,
Man U fan.
sorry.
Ten
Ten
Hag. Ten
Hag.
Hag.
He brought on, like sort of crucial moments, and they're really trying to hold on to any sort of like Europa spot / Champions League hope. I don't think they're looking at title contention at the moment. But he brought on the young fella, Garnacho. And you would sort of, like, it's just usually you would expect to see him make an appearance when they've got a solid lead. When things look confident, to give him more sort of like playtime and experience. But he brought him in a very high pressure situation. And I mean, for anyone who's seen and knows, like it ended very well for them. So that was a big surprise. I was really surprised to see the young fella brought on, but it went well. So that was a big one for me.
Yeah, so you were surprised by the fact that he was brought on, not by the fact that he did so well.
No, I mean, after about 2 or 3 minutes of him on the pitch, I was thinking he's going to push hard and score a goal, because they went to that wing several times, pretty much straight away, and he was either passing and cutting in, or just trying to dribble straight through the whole defensive line, I think, once or twice. So I think the actual goal was a surprise, but I think more just the fact that he went and with the young player in that position surprised me more.
Fantastic. All right. I had two things prepared, so depending on what you would say, but I'm gonna have to say City losing to Brentford at home, not something I would have expected, honestly. So
No.
of course, as an Arsenal fan, couldn't be happier. This is something we didn't ask you about. Normally, I ask my guests which team they support, but because I know you are a neutral, right?
Yeah.
You're a neutral fan, so that's why I didn't ask you. So, you know what? Let's explore that further. So I have answered. So for me, it's the City. It's the City game, right? It's City not dropping all our points to Brentford. That was just a shock, a shocking result. I saw the match.
I have to agree, like a very surprising result.
And in a way, it was deserved, because if you look at the stats, Brentford had a lot of shots on goal, like 9 shots on goal.
Well, just from watching the highlights that I saw, it very could have easily been much worse for City.
Exactly.
In the first few minutes, it could have been much worse.
Even though they had 75% of possession. So Brentford, they just had fantastic tactics from Thomas Frank. He's just such a great coach, in my opinion.
Taking advantage of the situations as they arise. Yeah.
Also being brave, because a lot of teams sit back, but they are not brave enough. And they will say, we play on counter attacks, but do they actually do any?
Do they actually push when the moment comes? Yeah.
But Brentford, they went for it.
Definitely in that match, from the highlights I saw, they definitely went hard. Like the moment there was an opportunity, it was all full steam ahead. All guns blazing, straight.
Exactly. And I'm going to blow my own trumpet here, yeah. But I actually, in the 80th minute, when it was 1-1, I went to a betting site, because I'm subscribed to a betting site, and I put money on Brentford winning that match, and the odds were 14-1.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So I won like £5.
Why not? That's a pint, depending where you are.
Yeah. 2 pints. Yeah.
Oh, awesome! It's about, if you go to the center of London, it's probably about a third of a pint.
Mm-hmm. Okay. I'm making some notes here.
Yeah, no worries.
Right. So Joel is here, which is good. Hi, Joel. Can you hear us?
Hey guys. Yes, I can. Can you
Okay,
hear me?
fantastic. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Could you move a little bit to the
Hey, good
side so
evening,
that we
guys. Good to
can you hear us, Joel?
report.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. Okay, that's
yeah, I
better.
can.
Yeah, stay there, stay there. Okay, excellent.
Okay.
Good to have you back, Joel. So yeah, this is I was just talking about the fact that Matt, a new guest on the show,
And
he
it,
doesn't support a specific team in the Premier League. He's a neutral fan, which is interesting. We don't get many of those here.
Mhm.
So, Matt, how come?
well, I actually grew up in Australia,
Ah,
and in Australia, football's not the most popular sport in the world. Well, we don't even call it football. You know, in Australia, it's commonly known as soccer.
but
Um,
hang on, hang on. Sorry to interrupt you, but don't you have Australian football there?
we do. We have what we call football.
Yeah.
And then around the world, that's commonly known as Aussie rules football, but it's a completely different sport. Yeah, completely different sport. But yeah, because I grew up in Australia, I wasn't really interested in football, European or South American or world football. I wasn't that interested in it. But I lived in London for many years in my 20s. And
Joel, I think there's an echo. I'm sorry, Joel. I think did you do something?
Yes, sorry.
Yeah, yeah.
Man, Bluetooth is acting up
cool. Yeah.
now. There you go, guys.
Thanks,
Yeah,
John.
okay. Yeah, it's fine now.
Does the echo still persist?
Yeah, so
Still there?
Yeah, it's fine now.
I lived in I lived in London for many years. Like I just moved there when I was traveling, and then I stayed in London, and so got quite into football at like an older age. So I never really picked like a team. I don't have sort of like childhood memories of going, you know, watching it on TV or anything like that, and being really big into it and stuff. If you really press me on a team, and this is like almost embarrassing to say,
Oh God.
if you really press me on a team, I'd say PSG. Obviously, not an English
Oh,
team.
come on. What are you even doing here?
No, but you know
That
what?
is-
Hold on. Hear me out. Okay, because I got into football, like I said, when I was in London, and I got into it through FIFA, the
Yeah, the
game,
game.
right? And all my English friends like just used to beat me and destroy me, and it was embarrassing. And I'd lose matches like 7-0, 8-0, and stuff.
I see where this is going. Yeah.
First time I ever won a match against any of them was with PSG. So
Yeah.
I chose PSG that day, and I had no idea of the social, political statement that I was making at that time.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Fair enough.
So,
Okay.
Good enough
Lovely.
choice as any, to be honest.
yeah, I mean, it's. I could have chosen worse.
Nice one. Okay, Joel. So this is not your first appearance. I believe it's your third. It's your third appearance on the show. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Yes, I think it's my third appearance here, Zenak.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And obviously, you are an Arsenal fan. So good times for you. And this is what we're going to talk about. One of the things we're going to talk about, because now this segment starts. It's called Game Week Highlight. Okay, so I think we're going to spend most time talking about two matches. One of them is Arsenal against Wolves away from home. Yeah, at the Wolverhampton Stadium, and the other one is the United game. So let's start with the Arsenal game, which happened on Sunday evening. Saturday evening. So Joel, 3 points, 2-0.
3 points. I mean, it was a great win. You know, I think last couple of weeks has been a little tighter for Arsenal in terms of just kind of grinding out the wins. 1-0 kind of squeezing by, but it was pretty comfortable at the weekend against Wolves, who are a decent team. And I think really you just kind of see them coming into their own more and more now. They're just so comfortable in a lot of their actions that they run now. especially down the wings with Martinelli and Saka, and even just the fluency between that front four of Saka, Jesus, Martinelli, and Odegaard is really almost unparalleled throughout the league. Maybe besides City, it's really something quite special to see now, to see how they've already
Yeah.
developed that chemistry, and then defensively as well. They have something that I didn't think they would have, which is depth. They can play Ben White at right back or center back, or they can play Tomiyasu at
Oh,
left back.
Tomiyasu
I
didn't
think
even
Zinchenko was
play.
playing at the
Tomiyasu
weekend.
Tomiyasu didn't even play, right?
hmm That's the thing, yeah. And guys like Tierney don't even get into the team, so
Yeah.
they're just I don't know, at a point where they've really clicked as a team, and it's special to see, because it's been years in the making with Arteta and everything, and they don't really need someone like, even though you'd love to see more goals from Jesus. He doesn't even need to score every week to keep them competitive in these games. What he brings was his chemistry and his ability to link up with the other players in the attack. Really gives Arsenal something, a very balanced kind of goal scoring attack, and they just seem like a very strong team at the minute. To be honest, it's quite remarkable, and it's
I
quite
cannot believe
gratifying
it.
as an Arsenal fan
Yeah.
after all these years, I must say.
It's like we are living in a fairy tale. It's kind of weird. It's hard to get used to as well.
Yeah.
So Matt, are you surprised by this? Are you surprised that Arsenal are top of the league, 5 points clear at the top of the league, clear
I
of
think
City?
how can you not be surprised? I think it seems to come out of nowhere. I think I can't remember when it was, a couple of seasons ago, when it was like Arteta took over at Arsenal, Lampard got Chelsea, and then Solskjaer was at United. I don't think anyone would have picked that Arteta was going to be the one who would
Yeah.
last the longest, and clearly, be the most successful amongst them. I don't think anyone really would have predicted that. I think maybe people would have thought Lampard had a bit more of a shot of doing something, and that Solskjaer at least could have, spent all that United money, and got big things going. But
Yeah.
Arteta's done amazing things over there, and yeah, I'm surprised. I think everybody's a little surprised, but it's cool to see Arsenal back at the top. I think
I,
cool to see them doing well.
I think what makes it extra special is the fact that this is Arsenal we are talking about. It's a club with so many expectations. The fans that have been through these years of disappointment, through these years of just stagnation, really. And every single year it was worse and worse. And Arsenal fans wanted Wenger out, right, at the end of his era. And then it got even worse, right? We thought we brought in Unai Emery. I thought it was not all bad, but I think it was kind of expected that it would happen after that. There would have to be some kind of rebuild, right? So it took him a few years, but they stuck with him. The board, fair play to them. What do you think, Joel? Because we were not happy with the board either, were we? The Arsenal fans. So were we wrong to want them out and to be negative all the time? Maybe not you and me, but like most of the fans, most of the Arsenal fans.
Sorry, Zach, I can't quite hear the question there.
Yeah. Okay. So the question was, how everybody was negative at Arsenal. The during Unai Emery's era, then when Arteta came in, everybody was negative. The results weren't there. There were protests. It was always like Arteta out. So I wanted to ask you, like, were you like that as well? Were you in that same bracket or?
Yeah, I wouldn't have said that I wanted Arteta out just because we'd had so many managers at that point. Well, not so many, but we had a few that you kind of felt, well, you don't want to go down this path that United went down, going through all these managers, or turn into a Chelsea where you have kind of a roundabout sort of manager system. But I was feeling pretty disillusioned just the kind of money that Liverpool and City were spending, and even United and Chelsea. It just seemed as though we couldn't really compete with them. And while Arteta had been encouraging, it seemed that maybe he was, trying to get Arsenal to do things that they just simply didn't have the players to do. I remember them trying to play out of the back, when he first came. I forgot what year it was, and it was just a disaster. Trying to play out of the back was,
Leno.
Koscielny and I forget some of these old center backs, but Socrates,
Also,
guys like that.
the goalkeeper Leno, it wasn't really his game, was it? And he
thing,
was forcing
Leno,
him to play like that. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So I think really just giving him the time to bring in his own personnel and his own players has really been something that I didn't expect. I didn't see coming, but it's been such a positive for the team. Homegrown players like Ramsdale and Saka, and then other players like that we got for like really cheap. I think the Odegaard signing is the catalyst to so much of the success that we've had this season. I think it's just such a bargain. We got him for 35 million. It's incredible,
Well, he is our captain
so
now.
yeah, I think I was pretty discouraged, but I wouldn't have necessarily said Arteta out. And now, I kind of go around acting like I'm one of those people who was like Arteta all the way, for the last 4 years or so.
I was always there.
It's all good.
Yeah, I see what you mean. I think 90% of the fan base were skeptical, to say the least.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So you mentioned Odegaard. He's our captain now, and he scored a brace. He scored a brace against the Wolves. And yeah, one thing I want to touch on is the fact that Granit Xhaka, he had to be subbed off early in the game. And every single time a player, like in the last few weeks, the player went down. A player who was supposed to play in the World Cup, a player went down. It seemed like the referees always blew the whistle immediately. The commentators were on it. The camera were focused on those players. And did you guys notice that? It was such a bit weird because those players were like, "Oh my God, I don't want to get injured before the World Cup." How do you feel about that?
I can't say I noticed that.
Did you get that vibe as well, like me? Or
yeah.
It's an interesting. It's not a theory you put forth, but it's an interesting idea. There might be something to it.
Did you notice it then? Like, did you see? Because it seemed to have happened in more matches. Like, it was the same with Madison. He was subbed off, and it's inevitable that it's going to be on your mind. Like you want to represent your country, especially because there are so many foreign countries, so many foreigners playing in the Premier League, and you want. It's like your dream. Like it's only once every 4 years, so.
Yeah. It's the question of like how much for all the players, not just I was going to say the foreign players, but every player who might be representing their country, how much is their head in the current league, and how much is their head just on the break and focused on the World Cup? I mean, if you're going to Qatar. I have to imagine that your final league game for the week, it would just be hard to imagine that you'd be fully focused on that.
Absolutely. At least you will not get, like, when there is a challenge about to happen, you might play in a different way. You might play less risky, or you might
be cautious.
More cautious. I think even Saka seemed a little bit like that in that game to me. I totally understand it because all it takes is just a pulled muscle or something, and it's so easy to happen, right, these days.
Yeah.
So I could see that. I honestly could see that. And when Xhaka went down in the second minute of the game, later we found out that it was, I say we, but they found out that it had been some kind of, he had been ill or something. There was an illness. And apparently 4 more players were ill in the team. So hopefully he will be able to represent the Swiss team.
COVID wave or something.
Who knows? No, please no.
Please no. Please no. I know all those matches without crowds were weird. But
right.
I think it could definitely be on your mind the way you play. It's got to, especially if you're particularly young and you're looking at your first World Cup, or if you're one of the veterans and you're looking at potentially your last World Cup. You know, it's going to be very heavy on your mind, and it's just weird this season, like just having it slapped in the middle like this. Yeah, it just seems crazy.
It is crazy for a lot of reasons, but it's I bet the toughest thing is like for the physios and doctors and how do you time it, you know? How do you time
Yeah.
it? What should you do? Should you train more? Should you train less? The problem is we haven't
Mm.
done this before. It hasn't been
Yeah,
done before.
where's the data on it?
No,
Where's
there's no
the
data, right? It's all random. So like you want to get this right, so you have to predict it.
Yeah.
And
And
yeah,
I don't know how much of a break after the World Cup is there between going
8
back
days.
to 8 days? So
The
that's
final is
even
on
that seems crazy. Like, can you really imagine? You know, like if some a team makes it to the final, they give it their all, they don't get the victory in the final. 8 days later, you have to go back to just regular league matches. Like I just don't see like let alone the physical recovery, like mental recovery for certain players in certain situations. Like how much are they going to be focused again on the task at hand? But they're the professionals, so
sorry. Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. This is a problem, right? It's only 2 teams that will make it to the final, arguably. But it's probably going to be one of those teams that has a lot of players in the Premier League, right? Most likely someone like Brazil or France, or,
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I mean, that's what the top tier talent is, isn't it? So, I mean, the chances are very, very high.
Okay, so as far as I know, the final is on the 18th of December.
That sounds
and
right.
then you have an 8-day break,
And then Boxing Day.
Yeah, the Boxing Day, the match on the Boxing Day, the matches resume.
That's just mental. That's so crazy.
Yeah. It's what can you say? It's just it's madness. So
isn't it just?
Exactly.
What happened to Joel?
Sorry, Joe. Yeah, I don't know.
He's
just
gone.
disappeared.
Will he be back? Does he? I don't know.
I have no idea. I don't know. Like he's got the link. Yeah, he's online. I'm gonna message him quickly.
No.
Yeah, we just have to roll with it. So we are talking about Arsenal here. I think, yeah. Is there anything else to say? Really, there's a lot. There's loads to say. What I could ask you is, what do you think will happen after the World Cup? Because 5 points is not much, and City are City.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, honestly, like instinct tells me that Arsenal are going to drop this. Like, I hate to be the bearer of any bad news for yourself or Arsenal fans. Like, instinct tells me they're going to drop it, but that being said, my instinct has already been wrong about 3 or 4 times this season with Arsenal. I keep thinking this weekend they're gonna slip. Like this weekend they're gonna slip, and they don't. So I mean, City slipped, and I think it wasn't too long ago in the season Liverpool won, where I think right at the beginning, City slipped up once or twice, but everybody was saying, "Oh, here we go, Liverpool will slip, and they never did, So, I mean, like instinct says Arsenal are gonna drop it, but I'm not gonna be like shocked either if they keep this up. They're playing well, they keep winning. Why should they not keep going?
Exactly. And they have put themselves in an excellent position now, right? 5 points ahead of City. Like, what else can you wish for? Honestly, it's amazing. They do have 2 games against City in hand, right? So, City could easily win both of those
they
matches.
can turn it around.
Yeah, easily. And also, we have to consider the fact that they have better squad depth than Arsenal. That's for sure. And what's going to happen after the World Cup? These players like Martinelli, Gabriel Jesus, these key players for us, Joel, right? Are they going to be tired after the World Cup? Will they need a break? Shaka? Will they be the same players? Will they pick up where they left off? what's going to happen. For me, it's a bit dodgy. This.
Mhm.
Yeah.
What do you think is going to happen, Joel? I think Joel might have a delay or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, it's like it's obviously a worry. I mean, it's something I've been thinking about since the start of the season. Yeah, I mean, I don't. Nah, I really don't know because we've just never been in the situation before at the World Cup. Being in the middle of the year, like it's really hard to make any sort of um conjecture. It's kind of you're just thinking, oh, I hope they all come back healthy for one thing. That's the main
Yeah.
thing. I suppose they all come back healthy. It's just about stamina, and I think that's where Arsenal's squad depth, which is, in fairness, it's been building up over the last few weeks, but it's just not like City's, where they can almost man for man change their whole team, really, in the exception of maybe De Bruyne and Haaland and Bernardo Silva. They can almost, switch everybody out and they still have a top quality team. So I think that's going to be a little tougher. But we've seen Leicester do it, and we've seen other teams have lesser squad depth get all the way. But it's going to be tough. I think it'll be tough even without the World Cup. And sustain this drive for like the whole season. So I think whatever happens, it'll be down to the World Cup, but it might have just happened anyway. Yeah.
Yeah. And to be honest, so we are only talking about City here, but it's not just City. There are more teams in the mix. They are not too far off.
Can you hear me, guys?
Yeah, you have a delay. There's quite a bad delay. Can you?
A bit of delay. Yeah.
I'm gonna remove Joel, and hopefully he comes back
Oh, okay.
without a delay. So what was I gonna ask you? Yeah, so there are more
About
people,
the
more teams in the
other
mix.
possibilities, yeah.
We have Newcastle, who are playing amazing football.
Who I believe are on quite a strong winning streak at the moment as well. Yeah. I don't know. For them getting up there, I don't know. I don't see it. I don't really see this going anywhere either than Arsenal or City. I think because like Spurs are fourth. Oh, I need to look again.
Yeah, they are. They are hanging
fourth,
in there.
Spurs are fourth, yeah. But they're
with terrible football, but they're still doing it.
I was about to, yeah. Well, they're 8 points behind, and they've played one more game. So I mean, it's not insurmountable. It's not impossible, but I don't know. Don't see it. I don't see it coming together for them. And then fifth, I think, is United. Again, they're a team in a huge transition. A transition that's been going on for about 9 years or something. I don't know. I would be pretty shocked if anyone other than City or Arsenal took it this season.
Okay. I can't believe we are talking in those terms, honestly.
Really?
Well, who would have guessed, right, Joel?
Yeah, no, true. I guess that's a pretty good sign for you guys. That does seem to be the discussion at this point, like which of those two, rather than which of the 3 or 4 or something.
Well, it could change. I mean, honestly,
no, of course.
Keep your feet on the ground. Joel, can you hear us?
Yeah, I can, guys. Yeah.
Okay, there seems to be no delay now, so all is good. Okay, guys, let's move on to the Manchester United game. So let's quickly talk about the game because we have Matt here who has seen the match. Did you see the match, Joel?
No, I didn't quite catch it. I was kind of following it as it was going along, so I expected it to be a draw, and then it wasn't. So.
That's okay, but we can quickly talk about that. But then we need to address the Ronaldo's comments, so we're gonna talk about that as well.
Very eager to do these comments.
It's really interesting, Matt. It's really interesting. Joel knows, right?
Yeah.
You know the comments? I don't know these comments. Oh, yeah. I've been a hermit today. I haven't seen anything online.
Wait for it.
Something.
After the ad. No, there's no ad. Don't worry, guys.
Coming up right after this. First, the message from our sponsor.
Yeah. So, the Man U game. So, 2-1 for Manchester United.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
3
2-1.
points. 3 points in the bag. Did they deserve
3
to win?
points. Just they scraped through, absolutely scraped through by the skin of their teeth. I think it was. It was a good match to watch. It was pretty interesting. But I mean, if you, I feel like United for years now, like everybody's waiting for, oh, this is the moment where they turn it around and they come back, and like every time there's a new manager, when Ronaldo got re-signed, it's oh, this is it, and I think Ten Hag's appointment was that good? I don't know.
But we have to ask Leontes.
I'll say his appointment was another one of these moments. Like, oh, this could be it. He's coming over from Ajax. He's bringing that football that got them so far, got them back on the main stage. But it's one of those things. Like we were just talking about Arsenal and how they've done it. And Arteta was given in modern terms, a long time to do this, and he weathered some pretty brutal storms. And I think that's, that United has still got to go through that, because they got the victory over Fulham. But if you're really talking about a title contender, someone who is going to really, put the points up every week, or reliably get those points up. Yeah, I mean, I think if you look at the stats, it's very similar. They really did scrape through. They got that final goal in the final minutes of the game closing, and the whole way through, Fulham could have pipped them. Fulham could. It wasn't like Fulham got one lucky break and got a goal. Fulham were on them the whole match. So I think it's fun to watch United and speculate about the future. But I think they've still got a long way to go before they're really, sort of at that City or even Arsenal level. But good match overall.
Mm-hmm. Well, Fulham have been playing really well as well, and in this game, I believe they missed their best player, Alexander Mitrovic. So maybe
and
that
you can
was.
say they love putting a big cross into the box for that, for him, and there was probably about 3 or 4 times that if he had been there, it's game over.
That might have been the factor that tipped the scales, honestly, and then obviously, I don't know, Joel, if you have seen the goal that that 18-year-old Spaniard scored. What's his name again?
Garnacho.
Garnacho, yeah, Alejandro Garnacho. So that was a moment. That was a big moment, right? He took off his
the defenders
shirt.
looked really slow on that one.
Sorry?
Yeah. No, it's just that I saw the goal on the news with my dad, and we were commenting on how the Fulham defender started out ahead of him, and then he was able to kind of just outpace him over 5 or 6 yards to get the goal, which was kind of surprising. You would have thought they would have been able to clear it from there, but yeah.
Mm-hmm.
No, it was an excellent play there, honestly. And Christian Eriksen, should we also mention him? He was dead for 5 minutes. Now he's firing on all cylinders, and he's in a great form, playing well for United, and he's going to the World Cup again. So, wow, what a story!
Yeah, big turnaround. Fantastic to see.
What a story.
Big turnaround.
It's wonderful, yeah.
I believe there are not many people that don't wish him good stuff now, right? After what happened to him, I mean, it's a
no, absolutely. And he had a great game. Obviously, he scored their first goal. I believe he got the assist for Garnacho's as well, if I remember correctly. So great to see. And he was it Brentford for a season? Am I crazy?
Yeah. He was at Brentford. Yeah,
it was at Brentford. Yeah.
That's
so
right.
I mean, big sort of.
They took a risk. They took a
Oh,
risk taking him on for it was like half a season.
Yeah.
They took a massive risk, because he couldn't play in. I believe he was playing. Was he playing for Inter Milan or somewhere in Italy?
I think it was Inter at the time it happened.
and he wasn't allowed to play because he couldn't play with that thing that he had installed in his in his heart. So he couldn't play in Italy. It was forbidden for him to play. But there were different rules in England. That's why Brentford were allowed to sign him.
Okay, that's it. Yeah, and then, I mean, like it's a tremendous bounce. I mean, just staying in the top leagues alone is tremendous. But getting to back into one of the top team. Well, if you want to call United a top team, getting into one of the top teams, bouncing back like that, tremendous.
Yeah, and let's be honest, he played for Spurs, right, Joel? But we have to admit it that he is class. He is class.
Yeah.
He's an excellent player. Yeah, we've got some. I believe Joel's phone is acting up a bit. I think he sent me a message that his phone is overheating. But I believe there's like a big delay. A little bit of a struggle here. Yeah, we have one of our regulars here on this show, Nrup, another Arsenal fan, is asking, is Garnacho rated well? I don't know. This was like the second time I heard about him. So I don't know.
Yeah, from my professional viewpoint and the 30 minutes I saw of him yesterday, I like him. I thought he came in hot, but yeah, I don't know really anything about it.
Matt, hadn't he made like 2 assists in the Europa League as well? I believe
I honestly don't know.
I think that's what happened. Yeah, if I heard it somewhere. So it was his like second notable appearance for United.
Okay, so he's been like under the pump before. He's been thrown into deep water,
something like that. Yeah, but it's an amazing story. Yeah. So how does it feel to have Casemiro? Well, we are not. Well, Matt is not a United fan, Rup, yeah. So
yeah, I'm not a big.
How does it feel, Matt?
Feels amazing. Casemiro in the house.
Not your house, though.
No footballers enter my house.
Yeah. Oh, okay. I got it. Right. So, what else can we discuss here? I guess we have to address the elephant. Well, it's not really an elephant in the room, but let's talk about what I have already.
Is this the big moment?
This is the big stuff, yeah. So Ronaldo, we have to talk about Ronaldo. So basically, as far as I understand it from a few things I've seen online and a podcast I listened to before this show, there is a show, Piers Morgan's show. I think it's called Uncensored, something like that. Piers Morgan, not my favorite person, by the way.
No,
but he has got like not my favorite person, but he's got a show which a lot of people watch. Okay, I believe Daily Mail kind of people. And it's called Uncensored, and he has done an interview for him, and it's coming out later this week. However, a preview has been released, and this preview contains a lot of bombshells, a lot of them. So several things he says that sort of tarnish Manchester United. A lot of things that are coming out that he probably shouldn't have said, or he wanted to say a long time ago, and it's only happening now. So I'm going to give you some of those. He said, I felt betrayed because some people didn't want me here at United. Not only this year, but the last year too. It's one of the things he said. He said, I felt betrayed. He used such a strong word, betrayed. He also said that he had no respect for Erik ten Hag because he showed no respect for him, for Ronaldo. He also said that he hadn't understood who they hired, why they hired Ralph Ragnick, who wasn't even a coach. And he also said that nothing had changed at United since Ferguson left United. It's as if time stopped. He mentioned technology, specifically he was talking about technology in infrastructure. He mentioned something about the canteen. I think he was alluding to the fact that I think something happened at the start of his spell at United that he was criticizing the way they eat there or something. So big words from Ronaldo. What do you think? Like hearing these things, Matt, are you surprised that this happened?
I mean, well, surprised that he's not happy? No. I mean, he's not getting played anywhere near as much as I'm sure Ronaldo expects that he should, or anybody would expect that Ronaldo would or should. But I might have to watch this full interview though, because I'd be curious to know exactly what he means when he says that Ten Hag showed him no respect, so he has no respect for it. Like, what does that mean exactly?
You know what they did?
I mean, is the fact that he's not getting game time no respect, or is there something specific? That I would be curious to know.
I think that must be one of the things, right? And also, obviously, I think Ten Hag handled the situation as well as he could, because obviously Ronaldo was the one who threw the toys out of the pram.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he was behaving in a childish way. He left the pitch before the end of the game twice. So he had to do something about that. He had to punish him somehow. So he didn't nominate him for the previous match. And yes, he didn't play him all the time, but he had good reasons to do that, in my opinion. So in Ronaldo's eyes, like, what would be the way to show him respect, do you think, Joel?
Yeah, I think, it's sad to say this about such a great player, but when you're kind of coming to the end of your powers as a player, it's always tough. I think in Ronaldo's eyes, playing more consistently and I guess, just being the main man would probably be his idea of respect. But it's just tougher when, you're older, you're not quite the same player as you used to be. In fairness to Ronaldo, I think he can say that he was probably United's best player last season almost, which is remarkable to say about like a 37-year-old. But there was plenty of times that season where he bailed them out, especially in the Champions League. So I think he's probably thought, look, I've earned, a lot of respect at this club in my first stint here. And now it's my second stint here, and I'm still, one of your better players. So I think coming into the season, he knew that Ten Hag didn't really fancy him as a player and was probably trying to – he was trying to engineer a move in the summer. And, that didn't happen for whatever reason. So I think, one of the things he's really angry at United for is that, well, if you're never going to use me, you could have sold me, but you chose both to not use me and also not to sell me. So it's kind of put everyone in a difficult situation,
What I heard is that part of the reason they did that was because of marketing and sponsorship deals, because they would have lost a lot of money had he let him go.
He's just simply him being at the club is valuable in and of itself. Yeah, it's kind of I like it was, like I said before, one of those moments again when Ronaldo returned. It was like, oh, now United are gonna, the Fergie years are coming back, and I think in hindsight now it was obviously not. Maybe for them financially, like you were saying, marketing wise, a good decision. For him as a player, like, not a good decision, because if you look at like where Messi went after Barcelona, PSG, like it makes sense because they just worship, like top tier talent. Like you just, they just want big names to put on the pitch, really, I think. And you can win the French league doing that. You just throw.
Not only that, you can also win a FIFA game with that, Matt.
Yeah, you can, absolutely. You can dominate in FIFA doing that. But United, I think Ten Hag's style, it's going to be like a lot of the top managers these days. It's high intensity, high pressing, young players pushing hard, running hard. Ronaldo is Superman, but he, as Joel pointed out, he's 36, 37. He's not going to fit into that high intensity sort of like full steam ahead, high press that they've got. I don't think it's going to work for him, and I think that's why he doesn't get the game time. It's not that he's not a good footballer. Obviously, he's one of the best ever, arguably the best ever. But he'd be better off going to a team where he can just stay up front, showcase his talent, and do well. But United's not the place for that.
So Joel, so why is he even doing this? Is this some kind of personal vendetta, or why is he even doing this? Like this sort of timing, this kind of big interview on this program, like Steve Morgan's, like if he said something in emotions after a match or something, yeah, that's different, right?
Yeah.
But this is like, this seems like premeditated. It's like, is it what is he trying to achieve with this, then, in your opinion, Joel?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's so odd because, in a way, if he was a lesser player or a player of less notoriety, I'd say, well, he's just trying to force a move out of the club. But since he's such a big player, there's a sense in which he shouldn't really have to resort to this sort of thing to, to get a move. But I think maybe he thinks he's exasperated his options in the sense, or exhausted his options in the sense that, well, he probably thinks I tried to move in the summer, with Grace, and he didn't let me leave then. So maybe if I blow everything up on the way out, then they're gonna have to, let me go somehow. But I do think, yeah, it is kind of, it's just very strange. You don't really see this sort of thing in football, or as Matt would say, soccer. I mean, you see it in kind of American sports more, or kind of different, kind of more individualistic sports. It's a little surprising to see a player of this stature, kind of come after the whole club. I mean, he went after everyone. The executive level, the managers,
And also Wayne Rooney.
yeah,
Wayne Rooney.
Yeah.
What's beef with Rooney? What?
Because Rooney had been talking, more people had been talking about him. For example, Gary Neville. Gary Neville had been talking about him a lot in a negative sense. And as a result of that, Ronaldo, when he went to shake hands with the pundits, with the commentators, he ignored Gary Neville. So Gary Neville is one of them. And then Rooney as well. Rooney also said something bad about him. Ronaldo had his comeback in this preview as well, but it's taken out of context. Yeah, so there's definitely going to be more, and we will see what it's going to be about. But I think, honestly, it is taken out of context, but I can't see how it will be sort of perceived in any different way.
Makes it better. Yeah,
like those were like big chunks. So it's not like 1 second shots, from or excerpts. It's really like long preview. So I don't know.
I need to watch this interview.
Yeah, me too. I think it's coming out on Wednesday or something.
Wednesday or Thursday, one of those days.
I heard that one of those. Yeah, exactly. Also, United came out saying that he was ill. That's why he didn't feature in the latest game against Fulham. So that seems like a BS as well.
Yeah.
after hearing this.
Yeah. Unless they're saying he's mentally ill, maybe he's going crazy. Yeah.
Yeah, probably that's what they're saying. Yeah. Ten Hag was really angry because there was one like representative, like some kind of spokesperson for United, who came out after this and spoke to the media, and they are not very happy about this. They are considering a legal action against Ronaldo, and they need to watch the whole interview to see like what exactly he's gonna say there. But that timing, it's really, really interesting, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because most experts would say actually that Ten Hag has been handling Ronaldo pretty well,
Yeah, well, I thought he did seem to go like quite a lot of matches, or quite a lot of minutes rather, without getting time on the pitch, and it did sort of seem like it was okay for a little while, but obviously not.
Yeah. I think in Ronaldo's I just think to come to Ronaldo's defense for a little while here, it's not as though he's being benched, for Eric Haaland or or Harry Kane or something.
Yeah.
Some of the better strikers in the league. you're kind of sitting behind an inconsistent Marcus Rashford, an inconsistent Martial. You're sort of thinking like these guys have had their chance to prove that there's a guy at United for the last 4 or 5 years, really, and neither of them have been able to do that. So there might be a sense in which Ronaldo's feeling like, look, your best strikers over the last like 5-6 years have been me, Ibrahimovic, and like Cavani. So it's the guys that you have now, even all the other younger guys you brought in haven't really succeeded. And maybe he just feels that, look, I played better than Rashford last season. I don't know why, I can't be in the squad now. Just to, maybe give some context for now.
Yeah. No, I think valid point. Like, valid point. He's not. There's no one out there killing it for United. Why wouldn't you throw him on? I would imagine he just Ten Hag feels that he doesn't fit into the system that he wants to play.
Yeah.
But to be fair, he is succeeding now. They are better. They are looking better, United, and they are getting results. So he's kind of holding the right cards. He's holding the aces,
Well, Ten Hag, I mean, like if you're looking from his perspective as well, even if he plays Ronaldo up front every match 90 minutes, he knows he can't rely on that for a long time. Like, he needs to build an actual team because Ronaldo is not going to be there for 10 years. We all know that's just not going to happen. He's, they for financial reasons, they might try and keep him around for as long as possible. But the manager knows he needs to build a team without Ronaldo.
Yeah.
So maybe start while he's there.
It's hard for him to take. Obviously, we should also mention there's this aspect of him going through something tough in personal sense, right? I believe he lost a child, or like a newborn child or something like that.
Oh,
so that's something that has to be taken into account. I believe he also is mentioning that during that interview. So he really feels betrayed, which you can understand in a way, but at the same time, it's his ego. He has such a huge ego, right?
You would, wouldn't you?
You would. Yeah, that's the thing. You would, right?
How would you not?
If they tell you are the best player in the world for like how many years? For 15 years. That people are telling you that you and Messi are the best players in the world for 15 years. Every single year. I don't know. You would probably have ego like him, but still, I don't know. I don't know where I stand on this.
Wait and see what happens.
Yeah. Wait for the interview, I guess.
Yeah.
Obviously, we would love to hear what you guys think. Not you, Matt and Joel, but the viewers.
You don't want to hear my thoughts.
We already know what you think. You've already told us. So let us know in the comments, please. That's what the comments are for. And we're going to look at the heroes of the week, the villains of the week, FPL. And then I'll say goodbye to you guys and do the language corner. So, hero of the week first. Right. Who would like to go first?
I guess say my hero of the week is Martin Odegaard. He's kind of my hero every week as an Arsenal fan, but especially this week. Really came through 2 goals. The whole team played great, but he was just putting emphasis on the fact that this Arsenal offense is really his offense. It's his team, and being captain now, especially with Xhaka out for a little while, and just the fact that he's able to both create and get and finish. He's a really special midfielder, and just to have him on our team, I'm just grateful all the time. So he's my hero of the week so far this week.
Deserved title. What about you, Matt?
I'm going to jump on the pro Arsenal bandwagon. And so, but my hero of the week is going to be a Brentford player, Ivan Toney. Putting the 2 past City, played amazingly. I think their whole, what we talked about earlier, that whole match was just a bit of a chaos, but he sorted it out and gave Arsenal that nice sort of cushion at the top there.
Absolutely. I think Ivan Toney should definitely get a mention. I was going to say Ivan Toney as well.
Oh,
Actually,
sorry, I'm
no,
still on your
that's
toes.
okay. I've got one more player I can mention. But we should mention that he was left out of the England squad, Ivan Toney, even though there was a good chance that he would feature.
And
So
that's what happens
now,
when you focused on the match at hand and not on the World Cup. So
yeah, but the good thing for him is like after hearing the disappointing news, he manages to bounce back like this and scores 2 goals and beats single-handedly beats City. It's amazing.
maybe it determined him more, turned him show what he's made of.
He's a very confident guy. Like whenever he speaks in the interviews, he always says, "I'm not afraid of anyone," or "Why should he be afraid of City?" It almost looks like on the one hand you could say he doesn't have enough respect for the teams like City. On the other hand, you want to hear that from players. You want to hear that, right? You want your players to be this confident, and maybe England will be sorry not to, or Southgate will be sorry not to have him. We'll see. We'll see. So okay, I am gonna say that Garnacho. I don't know what his name is again, but that guy that scored the winner for
Alejandro
United.
Garnacho, I think it was.
Garnacho. I'm sorry. Garnacho, the young guy, 18-year-old, took his shirt off. Amazing celebration. He really enjoyed that one.
Yeah, that was a good moment.
Okay, let's go for the villains of the week.
Yeah, my villain of the week this week would be it's a little harsh, but I'm gonna go for Graham Potter. Another kind of uninspiring loss, to Newcastle. I say Graham Potter, but I really sort of mean almost the whole Chelsea management structure is really taking a hit. I think this week and really this season. I was just watching the game a little bit, and I realized how many different players were from different managers. So you had guys like Mount from the Lampard era, guys like Ziyech, I think was signed maybe he was on the Lampard, but it was sort of a Tuchel player, Aubameyang a Tuchel player, then guys like Havertz and Pulisic who are just sort of there. And you have this really incoherent offense where, unlike Arsenal, where all the players that play now are kind of were brought along or developed by Arteta, or Man City, where you have the same thing with Liverpool, where all the players again came from kind of the same coach. You have this place where it's really incoherent, and their offense has struggled for literally a year and a half now. So I just think I'm saying Graham Potter, but I just sort of mean whoever manages Chelsea, now
It's
with the
not.
new owner and stuff.
It's
It's
kind
just
of
not
not
really
his
working at
fault,
all.
is it? Because he needs that time as well. He is a brilliant manager.
Yeah, he needs.
We have seen it. Yeah. So
Yeah,
he just
totally.
needs that time. He needs his own signings, let's say, to fit his own system. It's gonna be
Mm-hmm.
tough for him because how much patience do they have at Chelsea normally, right? Not
It's
much.
Chelsea, he needs time, but Chelsea and time, can barely coexist.
Hopefully, a little more patience given new management, but didn't seem that way for Tuchel. So
Yeah.
Yeah, we will see. We'll see what happens there. But obviously, Chelsea lost to Newcastle 1-0. Big win for Newcastle. Not such a great result for Chelsea. That's an understatement. Right, Matt, your villain of the week.
My villain of the week, I'm actually going to throw it to more or less the entire on-pitch Manchester City squad for watching them all just pathetically dive and attempt to pull red cards and all sorts of things after they had the free kick right on the edge of the box. Okay, it was close. I understand maybe you could have gone with a penalty on that one. But the next 30, 45 seconds after that, just watching these pathetic millionaires throw themselves every 2 seconds, getting pushed, handball here, just get on and play, you losers. It's embarrassing. Yeah. So they're my villains.
Yeah, that's nice. I love it. My villain of the week is going to be David Moyes again, and I have to say that I have a soft spot for West Ham. I like the team. I watch their matches. And
Wow.
I know the majority of the fan base are Moyes out now. I am not.
Wow.
I am not. But I still think that Moyes is in trouble because they are out of the cup now. They lost to Blackburn. They are really, really close to the relegation zone now. I think 2 points off or something. It's
Wow.
it's not looking good for them. However, Moyes deserves more time because of what he achieved in the previous 2 seasons.
Exactly.
He just does deserve more time. It's as simple as this. But he gets my villain of the week because losing to Leicester at home, they can't score goals. They are unable to score goals. They're just not clinical enough,
Got to put him away.
not dangerous enough.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's what a lot of people are
you
saying.
got
Yeah,
it.
Matt.
Yeah.
So, okay. So that was an honorable mention to West Ham. Normally we talk about West Ham here a bit more, but there's not much to talk about this time. Let's have a look at the FPL. Okay, guys. So how did you do this week?
Fairly middle of the road. I got 46 points, which I think is about three above the average for the week, and it's heartbreaking. The man I just said was my hero, Ivan
Yep.
Toney. I've got him on the bench. On the bench, so he's
Oh,
got 13
no.
points. Well, blows away everyone else on the pitch.
As you can see, I had a very average week. Only
Oof.
1 point, only 1 point above the average point.
I picked you by 2.
Yeah, I just got the captaincy wrong, but everybody did. Like, it was either Haaland or Salah, right? So
Yeah, I had Haaland. I mean, I feel like you have to captain Haaland,
yeah,
pretty much.
course.
Like
Yeah.
after the first 2 weeks of this season, it was like, well, who else are you going to captain?
Exactly. Are you in the league, Matt? Are you in our league?
I don't
here?
think I am. I need to add myself to that.
Yeah. So if you want, you can join the link is in the description of the show, or I can send you the code after the show.
Yeah, go on. When you get a chance.
Yeah,
I'll join.
absolutely. So as you can see, I'm in the 7th place. Not much has changed. Like everybody remained in their position. What's interesting is that Mohammed, who has been the leader for so long now in our league, he seemed to have played triple captain because Haaland got him 3 points. Look at that.
I must have.
Oh my God! He still got more points than me though.
That's that triple captain. It's that extra point.
Triple captain, well, 1 point. Oh, how unfortunate. That's why it's better, guys. I mean, I'm giving advice to Mohammed, who is like 80 points above me or something. But it's better to do triple captain when you have a double game week, when you know that team plays 2 matches. Yeah, I'm surprised at that decision, considering how well Mohammed has been playing. Look at where he is, like how far he is of everyone else. Only Carl, another Arsenal fan, only Carl is close. Yeah. All right. So obviously there is a break now. We will see what happens with the fantasy football. Do you play fantasy football, Joel, or not?
I don't. I didn't get into it. It's one of those things that I would always try and have a resolution to get into at the start of the year. Then I forget, and it's 4 or 5 weeks into the season. And it's like, oh, well,
Yeah, you're not getting back after 4 or 5
yeah.
weeks.
And the season started so early this year that I didn't really expect that. I hadn't made all my preparations and stuff. But it's always good to see. I mean, I think that Haaland advice is really what I would stick to if I was playing fantasy. I mean, just the way he plays, the way he scores, the rate at which he scores. I mean, you pretty much have to captain him like anytime he's playing.
Yeah. A lot of people jumped on him late and they regretted it really, really.
Because I knew everyone was going Haaland, so at the beginning I thought I'm going to roll the dice. I'm not going to get Haaland, and I'm going to roll the dice on Darwin Núñez, and that didn't go well at all.
Oh, but now Darwin Núñez, didn't he score 2 goals now?
Yeah, well now he's turning it on. Now he's turning on, but he's long gone from my team Because
I
he got
don't
a
know
red
how
card in
about
like the second match or
yeah.
something.
I don't know how about you, Matt, but it happens to me all the time that I sell a player. It happens especially with Ivan Toney. Whenever I buy Ivan Toney,
The hero.
he's underperforming. He doesn't get me any points. But when
Yeah.
I sell him, he gets a hat trick or something like that.
Yeah.
So
He watches this show, I think, and waits for you to
he
sell
does.
him, and then he.
No, he
and
actually
then he plays
does.
well.
He actually does play fantasy football. He has talked
Okay.
about it many times, I believe. He has had made some comments on his Instagram or something like that.
I wonder if he ever captains himself and it's just like, I'm going to have a great
I
game.
I bet players like football players do that because this is not like a game where you make money, right? It's not like they are not allowed to do that. So I bet football players play fantasy football.
Yeah.
Premier League players.
I'm sure
I
they
don't
play
think
fantasy. I just wonder if you would captain yourself, Like did if he played himself this weekend, did he captain himself? Did he know he was gonna have the kind of weekend that he had? Maybe.
I have hung up my boots already, but I wouldn't have captained myself because I was not really scoring that many goals, and also I was not on penalties. I took just like 2 penalties in my entire career, like maybe 3 in my entire career, and I missed like 2 of them. So
Oh,
I wouldn't have captained myself. No.
wouldn't be dropping the C on yourself then.
Yeah. All right. Okay. So yeah, that's I guess that's it for this show, guys. Thank you very much for featuring. I guess before I say goodbye to you, I'm gonna ask you this: Are you going to watch the World Cup?
Oh, of course. I'll
course,
be keeping an eye on it whenever I can. Basically, I think it's always a great time having the matches on. There's so much football on, just constantly. There's always drama, isn't there? So definitely, I'll have an eye on what's going on.
Yeah, I
You're
mean,
gonna
this is
You too, Joe?
yeah, I mean, this is Christmas for a football fan. Now it's literally Christmas. At Christmas, but just in general, the chance to watch so many games, so many great players all here, so many great teams. Like Matt said, the drama is going to be intense, and I'm just looking forward to a great month of football. It's always great World Cups.
Mm-hmm. So obviously, Joel, you're from Ireland, so the Irish team didn't qualify. I'm from the Czech Republic. My team didn't qualify. Matt, how about you?
So Australia, we do all right. We always get again we always get a group stage. We get noticed, but yeah, it's Australia.
Well,
I think I remember saying because it's painful. My wife is French, which is painful enough.
Oh.
But the last World Cup. Australia's opening match was against France, and France in that opening match played terribly. Like for France played terribly, and Australia played amazingly, and France kicked their ass. Like it's just it's So I usually sort of back England, having lived there for so long, and just because Australia is just never gonna get there.
Are you not gonna watch the Australian matches then at all? Or?
Oh no! I'll watch them. Yeah, of course. Oh, so, if they pull off some miracle, I'll definitely love it. But I just don't see it happening.
Well, you never know. It's football, and it's happening in Qatar, and you don't know what's
we're ready for the hate.
The offsides will be there will be some like automatic offsides or something. I don't know what it is. Like half automatic offsides or something. There will be some technological changes as well. So we will see what happens there. And I'm thinking of doing like mini interviews because obviously there will be no Premier League football. So I might do a few mini interviews with football fans of different teams. So if you want, I can have you on again, but this will be shorter, much shorter, like 10, 15 minutes, where I can ask you about the Australian team.
Yeah.
And if any of you guys watching support or have your team in the tournament, if you are Spanish, Italian, what have you, especially those teams that not Italian actually, they didn't qualify. Sorry, guys.
Yeah. That's awkward.
Awkward, yeah. But you know what I mean. If you want to come on, just send me a message, send me an email at teachersdenek at gmail.com, or this is my not this one. This is Joel's. This is my Instagram. Okay, so thank you very much, guys, for featuring today.
No problem. Thank you very much for having me.
Thank you very much for your
Thanks, Zach.
insight. And yeah, I will speak to you soon, hopefully.
Have a good one, everybody. Thank you
You
very
too,
much.
Matt.
Have a good one.
Take care and good luck to
Enjoy the World Cup,
Australia.
guys.
Cheers. Bye, guys.
See you, Joel. Bye.
Bye.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Bye. Okay, guys, and it's just me. And as always, it's time for okay, so let's go through some of the stuff I've written down. I may not always remember who said it because it's just so many things I have to do at the same time. So excuse me if this is not, if I don't know exactly who said this. I believe this is something that Matt said. Rough road at the moment. It should be with a small r. Rough road is a road where perhaps there are a lot of cars or a lot of obstacles. It's not easy. It's not a easy drive, right? You're driving a car, and it's an idiom. It's an expression. I guess he was talking about who could have been. Who could he be talking about? But Manchester United. It's a rough road for them right now. I don't think it was Manchester United though. Must have been a different team. Anyway, it's like right now things are not the best, right? Things are not easy for you. It's a rough road. That's what this idiom means. Whichever team Matt was talking about, I don't know anymore. I can't remember. Okay, he brought him in a very high pressure situation. So I'm pretty sure this was about Ronaldo. He brought him in in a very high pressure situation. Was this about Ronaldo? I should remember this, guys. I should have written this down. No, sorry. It was about Ganacho, the Spanish international, the 18-year-old boy who scored the winner for Manchester United. And one of our guests was referring to Erik ten Hag, who brought him in a very high pressure situation, and he delivered. He scored the winner for them. So what was I going to explain here? To bring in him in a very high pressure situation. I guess I like this collocation, a high pressure situation. So it's a situation where it's very stressful, where the stakes are high, and you want to make the right decision, and it's a lot of nerves. A lot of nerves are involved, and usually you wouldn't expect a young player like this to make it or to score the winner. Yeah. So that's why there is this contrast of a young player managing to pull this off in a very high pressure situation. A very nice collocation. Okay. I did talk about me winning a bet. I went to one of the online betting companies, and I bet on Brentford beating Manchester City. There were odds 1-14 or 14-1, and I did say I'm going to blow my own trumpet. If you blow your own trumpet, you sort of show off. Yeah, so you sort of like show off. I'm gonna tell you guys that I won in this bet. I'm gonna blow my own trumpet. I'm gonna brag about it. I'm going to show off. Yeah. Okay. I believe this is what Matt said. He said that he got into football at an older age. He was talking about how he started watching football. So if you get into something, it's like it's a way of saying you start doing it. You take up a hobby, or you have a new that's that moment, yeah, that's that moment when you um, have a new interest, or when you get a new interest, right? You get into something, okay? You take up a new interest, right? Okay, this is something that Joel said recently. It's been pretty comfortable for Arsenal, kind of grinding out results or grinding out the wins. So if you grind out, it's a phrasal verb. I believe it means to. I'm gonna check it just to be sure, to produce something in a kind of a sort of a slow, boring way, but often you maybe you win 1-0 all the time. It's maybe a defensive display to produce the result, the same result, to produce in this case wins, but it may be in a boring way, like you don't win 4-0 or 5-0 or anything. Yeah. So I think this is what Joel said when he was talking about Arsenal. They were grinding out results, grinding out wins. Okay. Okay. What do I have here? Okay. Now this is what Joel also said about Arsenal. He said they are at a point when they click as a team. So it's a very nice phrase. So if you click, obviously we can click a mouse click, right? If you press the button on your mouse, you click something, and then it will take you to a website or whatever. But you can also click as a team, which means you function really well as a team. When it clicks, it works. Okay, so Arsenal are at the point when they click, they are working as a team. They are functioning well. Very nice phrase indeed. Okay, I'm just wondering like what I should include here. So I said he scored a brace. If you score a brace, I was talking about Martin Odegaard, the Arsenal captain, and I said that he had scored a brace. If you score a brace in football, it means you score 2 goals. Okay, a hat trick, 3 goals. Most people know that word. A hat trick. You score 2 goals. You score a brace. Okay. Hmm. Okay, I don't like this one. I'm gonna omit this one. Okay, so here I keep thinking this weekend they are going to slip, and they don't. So I think I asked Matt what he thought about Arsenal's form, and he said, I keep thinking this weekend they're going to slip and they don't. Basically, Matt is expecting Arsenal to make a mistake. If you to slip, obviously you can literally slip on a banana skin or what have you. But it's also used in a metaphorical sense. If you slip in football, it means you make a mistake. So, especially if you're top of the league, you keep grinding out results, you keep winning. But then at some point, the, the teams that are chasing you from below you, they are waiting for you to slip, or they are hoping that you slip. They're hoping that you make a mistake and you drop points. You draw or lose a game, right? So um, they don't seem to slip these days, Arsenal, do they? Which is great, obviously. I'm not complaining. Um okay. I think Joel was talking about Arsenal's team, and he said, in fairness, it's it's been building up in the last few weeks. So he's talking about the squad depth. So it's been building up. And I like the expression in fairness, which is another way of saying to be honest, or frank. If I'm honest, yeah, there are more phrases like that. In fairness is has a similar meaning. Okay. it's going to be taken out of context, but one of our guests was talking about Newcastle United, and he said, who I believe are on quite a strong winning streak. I believe it was Matt. So if you are on a winning streak, it's like you have won the previous few matches in a row. Yeah. So if you are on a winning streak, you keep winning, and then your streak is kind of broken the moment you lose or the moment you draw. Yeah. So if you have won your previous 5 matches, you are on a 5-match winning streak. Okay. You could be on a losing streak as well. Yeah. If you have lost the last few matches, you are on a losing streak. Like West Ham United are on a losing streak right now. That's for sure. Okay. I think we were talking about Spurs here, and I honestly don't know what we were talking about, but I think we were speculating if Spurs could make top 4 again, or if they could challenge for the title. And I think Matt said that it's not insurmountable, which is a really interesting word. Insurmountable, it means impossible. But if something is not insurmountable, it's like double negative, which makes it positive. Does it make sense? So if you say something is not impossible, it's the same as saying it's not insurmountable. So in other words, you can imagine this happening. It's not insurmountable that Spurs win the league. That doesn't sound right. It is insurmountable, actually, guys. It is impossible. It's not never happening. It's never happening. It can't happen, right? I mean, it can. Anything can happen, but it must not happen. That's my point. They once almost won the Champions League. They were in the final once. That was the closest they came to winning a trophy in the recent years. Spurs, they haven't won a trophy for ages, for decades. Yeah, so they should win something soon because they don't have a bad team, and they have like the best stadium in the world now, in my opinion, one of the best stadiums in the world, best facilities, and a really good manager. So it's not insurmountable. Let's be honest. I was just joking. Of course, it's not insurmountable. Anything could happen in football. I mean, Leicester have won the Premier League once, right? So if Leicester can win it, anyone can. I mean, that's only fair. Okay. Right. So I believe Joel was talking about Ronaldo. I don't know what exactly we were saying, but I think it was something like United were in trouble plenty of times last season when he bailed them out. So if you have a lot of problems, maybe in this case you keep losing and the matches are not going your way, but you have a player that can bail you out. This means that player can win matches for you, can score goals, and that will help you get the points. I believe this phrasal verb comes from like the judiciary system. So if you are in prison, you can be released on bail sometimes. So you have to pay a certain amount of money as an insurance that you will not. I mean, I don't know exactly what. uh, I guess you will not commit crime, and that it's like a guarantee that like that it should be. Sometimes you can bail someone out by paying a certain amount of money. That means they don't have to go to prison, or at least temporarily until they are charged with something. So, but it's also used to bail someone out in a way, like to say to sort of get someone out of trouble. Yeah. So that's what it means here. Okay. I also said that Ronaldo threw his toys out of the pram, which is a very nice idiom. If you throw your toys out of your pram, you behave in a very like a childish, immature way. You you get angry. You start shouting. You just behave in a petulant, childish way. And that's what Ronaldo did by leaving the pitch, right, twice during the game. Not the pitch, sorry, leaving the bench because he wasn't played in those games. So you should stay, right? You should stay till the end of the game. So he decided to throw his toys out of the pram. Obviously, a pram is that vehicle. Is that a vehicle? That thing that is used to carry the baby, right? You carry the baby, a baby in it. You just hold it and push the baby. It's like some people call it a push chair. I mean, it's American English versus British English here. As some people call it a pram. And if you are a little child, a baby, and you have your toys in the pram, and you start throwing them out, you're like, "Wah, wah." You're an angry baby, right? So imagine that. That's 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 how this idiom came to be. All right. Okay, this is what Joel said. We were still talking about Ronaldo, and he said maybe he thinks. Oh God, sorry, I misspelt it. Maybe he thinks. 1 second. Maybe he thinks he has exhausted his options. Um, so I asked Joel why Ronaldo had done this, why he had spoken out like that in that interview, and Joel said maybe he thinks he has exhausted all his options because he wanted out of the club. They didn't let him. Maybe he thinks he had none options left, right? So if you exhaust all your options, you run out of your options. You have now no options left. Yeah, that's like a formal verb, which means um, you run out of something. Yep. Okay. Yeah, this is a phrase, a verb. Joel was talking about Martin Odegaard, the Arsenal captain, and he said that he really came through this week. So the phrase, a verb, to come through has more meanings, and one of the meanings is to succeed or to do something well, to deal with something well, usually something difficult. If you come through, you succeed in surviving, for example, a difficult situation, an illness, or an ordeal. Here, it's used as a little bit as an overstatement, but you could use it, I guess, to mean to succeed. All right, so that's that. And do I have anything else here? I'm about to end, guys. Yeah, so I believe this is the last one. I don't know what what were we talking about. You know what, guys? Let's leave it. Let's leave it at this. I hope you like the show, guys. This one has been a little bit too long, but then again, we are taking a little break from the regular show. Obviously, I hope to be back after Christmas. Don't forget, the Premier League resumes on the 26th, on the Boxing Day. And at that time, I should probably be in Vietnam. So I might be doing the shows from there. We will see. Hopefully, I will manage that. Let me know if you have been enjoying these shows. I would like to know your opinion in the comments. Um, it will be much appreciated, greatly appreciated if you do that, of course. And you can give the show a like as well. And like I said, I think I might do a few shorter interviews, probably lives on different days, talking to different football fans, supporting different nations. And if you are one of the people that might be interested in coming on, please contact me. Again, my Instagram is um, this Teachers Denek. Just find me there. Send me a message. Says Denek, I would like to come on to talk about my national team. I'm going to ask you very simple questions. For example, do you think your team will do well? How far do you think your team will get? Can your team win the World Cup? Or I might ask you about the best players in your team, or I could ask you about the prediction of your next match, or if you have just played your match, I could ask you what you thought about the way you played, how it went. I'm not going to ask you anything difficult there. So it could be a nice opportunity for you to speak to me. And it doesn't matter where you're from, but it would be nice to talk to real football fans. It would be nice to represent them here as well. So that's it from me. Thank you very much, everyone. And hopefully I'll speak to you in some way soon. Okay, take care, everyone, and bye.